Part 76. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 751. Yes. Since it is the place where the dragon of Xianming is, it is naturally the place of Xianming. Wu Sheng looked calm. Do you think that the Xianming dragon, which is regarded as a treasure by our Xianming sect, appeared out of thin air? Seeing Wu Sheng's expression, Xiao Xian and Mensu were a little surprised. You know, this Wu Sheng is also a talented disciple of Xianming section. He was once known as the number one among the younger generation in Mingzhou domain. It is said that he does things without thinking. I'm afraid no one will believe it. Therefore, Wu Sheng was so active in bringing so many trial disciples to Lanjiao land, and he also enthusiastically invited them to search for treasures together. This seems a little unusual. Is it possible that, after he obtains the Xianming dragon, he will not be interested in treasures such as the heavenly dragon bone, broken bones, and the snow mountain crystal? Think of this. Xiao Xian also looked at Wu Sheng and said directly, since there is no conflict in our goals, I will say something directly. You used a magic weapon to bring so many of us to the land of Dragon Leap. I'm afraid it wasn't just to deal with the blood dragon ancestral ape, right? Brother Xiao Xian, speak quickly. Then let me tell you the truth. I brought you two here with the intention of targeting the blood dragon ancestral ape, but later I discovered that the flame lotus is even more dangerous. Wu Sheng said, so, I want you two to help conquer the flame lotus. He put it so plainly. Instead, Xiao Xian and Meng Shui looked at each other, their faces a little more serious. A flame lotus flower that can harm 5th level monsters is naturally very powerful, but judging from Wu Sheng's appearance, it seems that he is very confident. This aroused Xiao Xian's curiosity. You know, no matter how awesome Wu Sheng is, he is only at the level of the great perfection of the spiritual god realm, and is still some distance away from the blue god realm. But in the world of monsters, the strength of 5th grade monsters is comparable to that of humans in the blue god realm. In addition, the blood dragon ancestral ape has ancient bloodline. If a monster with such strength were in its prime, Wu Sheng would definitely not be a match. So why does Wu Sheng have the confidence to challenge the flame lotus? Could it be possible because Xiao Xian and Meng Shui are around? What confidence do you have? Is it possible that you think that the three of us can conquer the flame lotus? Isn't this a bit taken for granted? Xiao Xian said seriously, although I have never seen this flame lotus, I can roughly imagine the power of this flame lotus. I don't want to die. It seemed that Xiao Xian would answer this way. Wu Sheng smiled directly and said, don't worry, I have already prepared for you. There is Xianming Qi in this land. As long as I am willing, I can raise my strength to the blue god realm in a short time, so that I can barely compete with the flames the lotus contends. Is this your trump card? Xiao Xian frowned slightly. Good. How is it? Brother Xiao Xian, I am more sincere in cooperation, I even told you my trump card. Wu Sheng said directly. Hearing this, Xiao Xian and Mensu looked at each other instead. According to their experience, Wu Sheng, as a talented trial disciple, is indeed not a person who talks nonsense. Today, he can show his trump card. But it can also show his attitude. Kangshen realm. I don't believe it. If you really had this ability, would you have been attacked by Ye Guangdao and Shi Qing just now? Mensu looked questioning. It's natural. You should know that some power is only temporarily borrowed. After using it, you will enter a short period of weakness. Wu Sheng smiled bitterly and said, if it's not necessary, I won't use it casually. All right. In that case, let's go take a look. If the flame lotus really appears, it will be up to you to take action. Xiao Xian laughed and kept his posture very low. I still want to believe that with the first person of the younger generation in Mingzhou domain here, maybe we can really conquer the Flame Lotus. Forget it. If my prediction is right, it won't be long before your reputation will be heard throughout the underworld. Wu Sheng was thoughtful. The three of them walked forward. Soon we came to the depths of Lanjiao land. Deep in the dense forest, Xiao Xian really felt a familiar stench the further he walked inside. Because it had devoured Wang Ralong's Xianming Qi before. So he is no stranger to these things. However, Mensu next to him was different. After feeling this mysterious energy, she was obviously a little resistant. If it is not a last resort. After so many years of training, he has long understood that in the world of cultivation, the only thing to rely on is strength. Finished. What? Even if you can't guarantee your own life, why should you pay attention to the taste? In an instant, the boulder was smashed into pieces. What's more, according to what the previous system said, the disciples of Xianming sect were all sin slaves in the Central Plains. But it can still strengthen his Tao power to some extent, so Xiao Xian is also happy to accept it. I'm afraid they won't go to the land of Xianming, endure the erosion of Xianming's energy, and finally become a strong person. As a girl, I naturally hate these things. Who likes these things, Mensu said impatiently. Just coming into contact with some dark Xianming energy, he immediately used his Tao power to get rid of these things. Slowly absorbing these Xianming Qi, maybe it can also take your strength to a higher level. A little loss of taste doesn't seem to be a big deal, right? As for the other side, Mensu originally wanted to complain to Wu Sheng. Seeing Xiao Xian and Wu Sheng enjoying the Xianming energy. There is really Xianming Qi, Wu Sheng, you are really good enough. You actually enjoy such an unpleasant smell. Wu Sheng said roguely, besides, can't you see that such a powerful force comes from absorbing Xianming's energy? With his previous experience, he was no stranger to these Xianming Qi, and it soon slowly merged into the Xianming Qi in his body. Xiao Xian said, slowly moving the Tao power in his body. Compare it to getting stronger. In this regard, Wu Sheng looked regretful. How do you feel? Wu Sheng looked curious. Calm down. But after seeing the latter's expression of enjoyment, he couldn't help but say, I really don't know if practicing in this environment will affect the taste. After a while. You can't say that. Xiao Xian shook his head instead. Not enough strength. He punched a boulder in front of him. Perhaps, you don't like these Xianming Qi, but do we too like it? Look, how quickly brother Xiao Xian absorbs it. Mensu was a little impatient, you really enjoy these smelly things, have you considered my feelings? Turnip greens, all have love. Mensu looked disgusted. Although these Xianming Qi are not as strong as Wu Sheng's. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 752. Snored. It's just a little stronger, what's so big about it? Saw a boulder being broken into pieces. Mensu was also secretly surprised, but she was still unconvinced and said, if it's just a stone, I can't break it. He, Wu Sheng smiled slightly. Mensu, didn't you see? What Wu Sheng used just now was the power of Xianming, and he did not use his own Tao power, Xiao Xian reminded. Then, so what? Mensu was a little confused. The power of Xianming. But the power born out of Dao power is even more powerful than physical power. Xiao Xian said, in other words, even if you exhaust your Tao power, you can still fight with the power of Xianming. Generally, practitioners have the power of the Great Avenue and the power of the soul. Two ways of fighting. This is what ordinary practitioners know, but now, after absorbing the power of Xianming, it can actually give people a third way of fighting. This is indeed a huge temptation. And over the years, the combat capabilities of Xianming sect disciples have been obvious to all. Basically, as long as a Xianming sect disciple is born, he still has some status and face in the Mingzhou territory. Don't you plan to become stronger? Xiao Xian asked casually. Who doesn't want to become stronger? It's just, I don't want to become stronger in this way. Mensu shook her head and said, if my master knew that I learned the power of Xianming in Lonjiao land, wouldn't he just tear me apart? That's true. It seems that having a sect may not be a good thing sometimes. Xiao Xian also nodded slightly and continued, then just stay there for a while, we will absorb it soon. Hear this. Mensu was furious. You know, in the Snow Wolf sect, she can be regarded as a beautiful girl of heaven. Regardless of whether they are her fellow disciples or the young handsome men outside, they are all very polite to her. She was not weak to begin with. In addition to her good looks, none of those men pampered her like a treasure. Who knew that in front of Xiao Xian and Wu Sheng, they would be so ignored? You. It's so boring. Mensu angrily kicked a big tree. But what she didn't expect was that this kick, instead of causing the tree to fall directly to the ground, actually made her feet hurt. This made her somewhat confused. As a practitioner of the great perfection of the spiritual God realm, although she is not good at strength, she can break gold and crack rocks with just a punch or a kick. So what's going on? Is it possible that this big tree is harder than stone? With curiosity, Mensu carefully observed the big tree in front of her, but found something unusual. There is actually a faint Taoist rhyme on this big tree. Hit him with one punch. These Daoyun were able to approach naturally, and then slowly dissolved the power of the fist. So amazing. You two, stop sucking and come and take a look at this place. Mensu looked at it for a long time and felt that it was very subtle, so she directly called Xiao Xian and Wu Sheng over. This Taoist rhyme seems to be able to dissolve power, you see. In front of Xiao Xian and Wu Sheng. She punched the tree again. Sure enough, as soon as his fist touched the big tree, layers of mysterious Taoist charm appeared on the surface of the tree. Under the protection of this layer of Taoyun, the power cannot touch the inside of the big tree at all. It's a bit interesting. Xiao Xian took a closer look and said, it seems to be true. This seems to be a special rule in Lonjiao land. Special rules. Could it be related to the power of Xianming? Wu Sheng also came over and looked curious when he saw the scene on the surface of the big tree. If this kind of defense method can be used on the human body, wouldn't the defense ability be greatly improved? Not just in a defensive way. It seems, this kind of Taoyun can not only be used for defense, but can even be used for offense. Xiao Xian imitated the way Daoyun fluctuated. Using his own power to slowly rotate his arms, the muscle lines and tendon combinations on his body have undergone some changes. With the help of primitive power, he could easily change the combination of muscle power in his body and quickly imitated the combination of this power. I seem to learn something. Xiao Xian raised the corners of his mouth slightly and said to Wu Sheng, Brother Wu Sheng, can you take a punch from me and see how I am studying? Hear this request. Wu Sheng was obviously a little surprised. But after thinking about it, he nodded and said, I can accept it, but, don't push you too hard. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. Xiao Xian nodded. Then come on. Wu Sheng gritted his teeth slightly, and the Xianming power in his body instantly gathered, forming a circular shield on his chest. Xianming shield. See this shield. Mensu was secretly speechless. She was no stranger to this shield. She had heard her master Leng Aolan say before that the Xianming sex suppressing treasure was a small earth-level Taoist technique called the Xianming shield. Over the years, the righteous way has besieged Xianming sect countless times. It was resisted by this kind of Taoism. Moreover, this kind of Xianming shield becomes stronger the more people there are, and it can also rely on the power of Xianming to continuously recover. If you can't break it with one move, this mysterious shield will gradually recover, and finally, it will continue to protect the cultivator's body without any damage. Therefore, even if she faced such a shield, she would still have a headache. She originally thought that even if Xiao Xian wanted to try Dao Yun's power, Wu Sheng would not be able to show any trump cards. The most you can do is use your power to fight him. Who knew that for Xiao Xian, Wu Sheng would even take out the Xianming shield? This was simply making a fuss. Xianming shield. Brother Xiao Xian, this is the most powerful defensive technique of our Xianming sect, so, I am still very confident that I can defend it. Wait until the black circular shield is completely formed. Wu Sheng also had a lot of confidence on his face. Originally, my master, old man Xueming, taught me that this shield was used to resist the 5th grade monster, the blood dragon ancestral ape. I didn't expect that it would be used on you for the first time. On the body. Then I'm really flattered. Watch it. This is an attack with Dao charm. Xiao Xian's face was solemn. As the founding Yuanling, he has primitive power and can comprehend Taoism faster than ordinary practitioners. At this moment, he has the blessing of Tao Yun. His ordinary punch already has the strength of the great perfection of the spiritual God realm. Xiao Xian held his breath and punched directly towards the center of the Xianming shield. Under the huge force, there was even a sound of breaking through the air on the fist. Boom! Fists and shields clashed together. There was a deafening sound, and the shock waves simultaneously made Xiao Xian and Wu Sheng take a few steps back. The Xianming shield was extremely solid just now. It actually shattered inch by inch. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 753. How is this possible? Looking at the Xianming shield that was shattered inch by inch in front of him, Wu Sheng's face was full of surprise. You know, in Xianming sect, this Xianming shield is definitely the most powerful defensive technique. As a person in the spiritual realm of Dzogchen, the defensive power of his Xianming shield was extremely astonishing. Once, a powerful person in the Blue God realm attacked her, but it only knocked him back a few steps. His Xianming shield was not damaged. But now, Xiao Xian's ordinary punch actually shattered his Xianming shield. This made him couldn't believe his eyes. He knew that Xiao Xian's major was not the way of the body, but a sword cultivator. But now a sword cultivator practicing swordsmanship can have such great power with one punch? This Xiao Xian, how powerful is he? Wu Sheng couldn't help but take a breath of spiritual energy, looked at Xiao Xian, and said, "It's unbelievable. This power is simply unbelievable. I feel that if the punch just hit me, I would be seriously injured on the spot, even my body. Die. Xiao Xian, your fists and kicks are actually more powerful than Shi Qingdu. A lucky fluke. Xiao Xian is modest. He did use a lot of force in that punch just now, but he could feel it even more with the added bonus of Tao Yun. He doesn't necessarily have to use much force to create great power. As a user of this punch, his feelings are naturally extremely profound, and he can clearly feel it. This rhyme indeed has a magical effect. It seems that this rhyme can slightly change the way his muscles and bones exert force, allowing each kick to exert greater power. Amazing. If this Tao Yun really has this function, doesn't it mean that in the future, at the same level and with the same power, my fists, kicks and Taoist skills will be stronger than others? Xiao Xian's eyes lit up and he couldn't help but get excited. On the other hand, Wu Sheng and Meng Shui next to them looked shocked and looked at Xiao Xian as if they were looking at a monster. How did you do it? Wu Sheng was curious. It seems to be the power of Dayun. Xiao Xian didn't deliberately hide the power of Dayun in his fist just now, so he didn't hide it either. You mean, you can imitate the Taoist charm on the big tree just now, Wu Sheng couldn't believe his ears. It's not really an imitation. I can only say that I have learned a little bit about it. Xiao Xian smiled. The power of natural Taoyun is indeed not something ordinary people like us can learn. I only learned a little bit about the surface. What he said was really not nonsense. Natural Taoyun, no matter in terms of combat power or mysterious degree, is not something that ordinary people can learn casually. Even as the founding Yuanling. If Xiao Xian wants to understand this natural Tao charm, it will still take a lot of effort, at least it will take some time to slowly understand it. As for the fist just now, at most, it is just a matter of learning the operating rules of this natural Taoyun, changing some of the muscles and bones in the body, and optimizing the way of exerting force. But that's the case. Wu Sheng and Mensu also looked shocked. After all, the two of them can be regarded as talented disciples in their respective sections. Although their cultivation talents are not heaven-defying, they are still ranked among the best in the Mingzhao domain. But even so, they faced the natural charm on the big tree. There is still a feeling that something is wrong. Who knew that Xiao Xian could not only understand some of the natural Taoyun in an instant, but could even use it in combat? Such talent. It can be described with the word horrible. With such talent and such courage, brother Xiao Xian, I'm afraid your future achievements will not be limited to the Mingzhao region, Wu Sheng said with emotion. I'm afraid it won't be long before you can become a leader in this region. Inside, the brightest star. I don't dare to take it, I don't dare to take it. Xiao Xian shook his head and chuckled. I just got a chance to understand it. If this can be considered a fluke, I'm afraid there is no real talent and strength left in the world. Mensu also looked at Xiao Xian in amazement. After all, she was the first to discover Daoyun on the big tree. But she didn't find anything strange about Daoyun. That's why I found Xiao Xian. Who knew that Xiao Xian could comprehend such a precious thing just by taking a casual look at it? This made her feel envious and emotional at the same time. Hey. Speaking of which, this should be regarded as taking advantage of you, Mensu. Thank you very much. Xiao Xian stretched out his hand and touched the Taoyun flowing on the big tree. The original power was released from the body and directly engraved these things in his heart. His raw power is already strong. After such a period of enlightenment, he can keep the flow rules of this Taoyun in his body, and he can take it out to understand it whenever he thinks of it in the future. It's like a scale machine that can record at any time. Then I have to understand it carefully. Wu Sheng and Meng Shui did not understand Xiao Xian's inexplicable action at all. This thing is so useful. It would be nice if I could bring it back to the section. Mensu touched the natural charm on the big tree and couldn't put it down. She wished she could take this thing back to the Snow Wolf sect. Unfortunately, even Wu Sheng tried to attack the big tree several times. Even with Xianming's power, he couldn't even get the slightest scratch on the big tree, let alone take away the natural charm of the big tree. The defensive power of this thing is too abnormal. I estimate that if you don't have strength above the Blue God realm, you won't be able to shake this big tree. A punch hit the big tree. The big tree didn't move at all, not even a leaf fell. Wu Sheng couldn't help but sigh. In this case, I can only meditate here, and I have no way to take this big tree away. The land of Dragon Leap is indeed extraordinary. Mensu also nodded. Then do you two want to meditate here for a while? Anyway, there is no other opportunity to appear in this world now, Xiao Xian said. Never mind. We don't have the incredible talent you have. If I could comprehend it, I'm afraid I would have comprehended it long ago. Wu Sheng hesitated for a moment, then shook his head and said, although the natural Taoist rhyme is powerful, it is too difficult to comprehend and cannot be comprehended by ordinary people. Let's forget it. Mensu nodded helplessly after hearing these words. Seeing that neither of them had any other objections, Xiao Xian happily accepted it and continued, in this case, we can go to the depths of Longjao land to see how powerful those three treasures are. The Dragon of Xianming. Crystal of Snow Mountain. The Dragon's Broken Bones. Are these things really hidden deep in the Dragon Leap land? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 754. The three of them were walking together again. Soon we arrived at the core area of Longjao land. I saw a huge waterfall deep in the jungle. The waterfall flew down, and the snow-white water seemed to fall from the sky, hitting the river heavily. Is this the source of the Zhuiming Lake? Xiao Xian looked up at the waterfall and said, I don't know where the water comes from. Is there a snow mountain at the end of the river? That's how it should be. I have also observed along the way that although there are dense jungles here, there is not much rainfall. The rivers should be melted water from snow mountains. Wu Shen nodded and said, if I predict correctly, at the end of the waterfall, there should be the snow mountain crystal. So where are the heavenly dragon Broken Bones and the Xianming dragon? I heard the news about the snow mountain crystal. Mensu was naturally very happy, but soon she asked a little embarrassedly, in that case, I want to go to the snowy mountains. What are your plans? Wu Sheng smiled instead, in addition to the fact that you are going to the snow mountain, I also felt the strong Xianming energy under the waterfall. There is a high probability that the Xianming dragon is under the waterfall, so, I might also go there. Under the waterfall. After the two people finished speaking, they simultaneously focused on Xiao Xian. The snow mountain crystal and the mysterious dragon were originally the goals of the two of them coming to Qinglian Valley. Now that there is news about these two items, they naturally have plans to pursue them. But on the other side, they and Xiao Xian can be regarded as allies, so they feel a little embarrassed to leave Xiao Xian behind now. It doesn't matter. Now that you know the location of the treasure, just go directly. Xiao Xian smiled and said, as for the Tianlong bones, I will definitely try my best to find them. Regarding Xiao Xian's confidence, Wu Sheng and Mensu were a little surprised. After the deaths of Ye Guangdao and Shi Qing, they also knew that Xiao Xian might be the strongest among the disciples in this trial in the Mingzhao realm. Not only has the power of the soul reached the real state, but even the Tao power can rival the great perfection of the spiritual God realm. Not to mention, now he has obtained the power of Dayun. One-on-one duel. Even Wu Sheng, who was blessed with the power of Xianming, dared not say that he could defeat Xiao Xian 100%. Just rely on this. Even if the two of them were put together, I'm afraid they wouldn't be Xiao Xian's opponent. But even so, the various treasures in Qinglian Valley are definitely not easy to obtain. After all, even for the most talented cultivators. If you want to obtain cultivation resources, you also need luck. Why can Xiao Xian be so confident? Is it possible that he could find the Tianlong broken bones so easily just by relying on his words? You must know that the broken bones of the heavenly dragon are more precious than the dragon of the mysterious darkness and the crystal of the snow mountain. They are even rarer things to find in the exchanges outside. I do have a question. I want to ask Wu Sheng. Xiao Xian said directly, if I predict correctly, the dragon of the mysterious Ming should be an opportunity to help cultivators enter the blue god realm. If you really get the dragon of the mysterious Ming, what are you going to do? Before they entered the Qinglian Valley, Old Man Xueming has already shown his strong interest in the dragon of Xianming, and even claimed that Xianming sect can simply give up on other treasures in the Qinglian Valley and be satisfied as long as they get the dragon of Xianming. Now, Wu Sheng is so actively pursuing the Xianming dragon. This aroused Xiao Xian's curiosity. He wanted to know what Wu Sheng's purpose was for doing this. Is it simply a treasure hunt for the sect, or is it for yourself? After these words were spoken, Xiao Xian and Mensu's goals were again focused on Wu Sheng. Both of them were a little curious and confused. Based on the previous situation, this Wu Sheng should also be an ambitious and resourceful person. Faced with an opportunity that can make him stronger, he will not give up easily. From the strength he showed, it was obvious that he had also reached the great perfection of the spiritual God realm. He is only one step away from the blue God realm. If he can obtain the Xianming dragon, his strength will naturally be taken to the next level. Now, what he wanted to see was Wu Sheng's attitude. It's true. Before I met you, all I wanted to do was find the mysterious dragon for the sect, that's all. Wu Sheng hesitated for a moment and looked at Xiaoxian, but after getting to know you, I have the idea of swallowing up the Xianming dragon. Xiaoxian couldn't help being stunned. He really didn't expect that he had the ability to make a person like Wu Sheng change his mind. Good. Before I met you, I thought that I should be the number one among the younger generation in Mingzhou territory. But now, I realize that maybe I am not the so-called first person. Wu Sheng's eyes were full of determination, but I believe that one day, sooner or later, I will become a truly strong man, so I will start with the dragon of the mysterious Ming. Say it. Xiaoxian and Mensu couldn't help but look at each other with a bit of surprise on their faces. Before entering Qinglian Valley, both of them heard the comments about Wu Sheng from their respective sects. Basically, the sects in the Mingzhou territory will regard Wu Sheng as the person with the best chance of obtaining the Tianlongbone broken bones in the Qinglian Valley this time. No one would have thought of it. Xiaoxian, a new student, could bring such a big surprise to everyone in the end. Good. I'm waiting for you to become stronger. Xiaoxian nodded slightly. Everyone has their own choice. Although before entering Qinglian Valley, he thought that the people of Xianming sect were all heinous and evil people. But after such a long time of contact, he discovered that perhaps Wu Sheng was not a simple villain, but sometimes even stronger than Ye Guangdao and Shi Cheng. At least Wu Sheng didn't show any ill will toward him now. Farewell. I hope that when we meet again, we will not be enemies. Wu Sheng suddenly laughed, turned around with his hands in hand, and then jumped directly into the lake under the waterfall. In the mist rising to the sky, the little waves he made were not noticeable at all. However, Xiaoxian looked back at Mensu and said, if my prediction is good, you can go up the river and reach the top of the snow mountain. You will know the snow mountain crystal you need. How about it? Do you need my help? No. Since Wu Sheng can be so determined, I don't believe it. Am I weaker than Wu Sheng? I don't believe that I can't find the snow mountain crystal with my own abilities. Finished. Mensu also walked directly in the direction of the snow mountain. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 755. Watch the two people leave. Instead, Xiaoxian shook his head and smiled bitterly. He originally came to Qinglian Valley to find some opportunities for his own cultivation. It would be best to find the broken bones of the heavenly dragon to advance his divine dragon skill. Who knew that we would encounter such a situation? Inexplicably, he became the target of the two geniuses Wu Sheng Mensu. Listening to their words, the goal of these two people's efforts is to surpass him. Even defeat him. I'm really speechless. Brother system. Should I come out and give you some advice? If I remember correctly, there are some things that are not that simple to get. Watching the two people leave, Xiaoxian also directly summoned the system, then just tell me, where is the Tianlongbone broken bone? Speaking of which, he was a little embarrassed. For ordinary people, being able to enter the Qinglian Valley to participate in the trial is already a good opportunity. But for Xiaoxian, entering the Qinglian Valley is only the first step. His ultimate goal is to obtain the most precious treasure in Qinglian Valley. Ahem. This system prompts that the host already has a map of the Qinglian Valley. If you want to find the Tianlongbone broken bones, you can use the map to find it. The system's voice rang. Xiao Xian was helpless for a while. He also knew that what the system said was actually correct. The first time he entered the Qinglian Valley, the system gave the map of this place to Xiao Xian. You must know that this map is already a very precious thing from any perspective. If a general trial disciple can get something like this, I'm afraid I would have jumped for joy already. But now, he is still a little dissatisfied. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian looked a little guilty on his face, and said with a bit of embarrassment, "Hey, system brother, don't be angry, I'm just a joke from brother Kai. With such a good thing, how could I still are you not satisfied?" System prompt: the broken bones of the heavenly dragon are the most precious thing in the Qinglian Valley. If the host obtains it, there is a chance to obtain the Blue God Realm. Opportunity at the Blue God Realm. Is it the chaos opportunity mentioned before? Xiao Xian's face became serious. After being in the spiritual God realm for such a long time, he has roughly felt that there is indeed a big gap between the spiritual God realm and the Blue God realm. I want to have a greater say in the Mingzhou territory and even the Eastern Wilderness continent. He must become a cultivator in the Blue God realm or even a higher realm. And most people want to get this chaotic opportunity. Maybe it is really a stepping stone for him to enter the Blue God realm. But don't think too much. It must not be an easy thing to get this chaotic opportunity. Brother system, in this case, you have to give me some tips. Xiao Xian still refused to give up. Having a map is important, but, in my impression, the power of the system seems to be more than just providing a map, right? Certainly. This system is the #1 system throughout the ages. As long as you have this system, your host will be the greatest loser in the world. This system can also turn him into a peerless and powerful person who will be dictatorial throughout the ages. Even if you wear it 1,000 times, you will never wear it. Xiao Xian knew that sometimes, if you say something to make the system happy, you might be able to get more good things. Just like now. Perhaps in the eyes of others, Xiao Xian's compliment was a bit embarrassing, but he himself was enjoying himself. Something that can be easily obtained. Why work hard? Can face be used as food? The host needs to defeat a blood dragon ancestral ape to obtain the Kang Longbone broken bones. The system's voice rang. Lie down. Brother system, are you kidding me? I have seen the blood dragon ancestral ape before. This blood dragon ancestral ape is a real 5th grade monster. Although the other one was killed, it was just an accident. Is it different now? Xiao Xian couldn't help but said, I am a perfect person in the spiritual realm. If I encounter a 5th level monster in full swing, it will be very bad. System prompt: this system's decision is based on the host's strength and will not be wrong. Based on my strength. Xiao Xian couldn't help being stunned. He understood the words. The system said, the flame lotus is located in the lava cave on the map. Maybe he really has the strength to fight the blood dragon ancestral ape? But next to the land of Dragon Leap, there is a spot marked in red. This spot is a lava cave. At that time, when he had just obtained the map of Qinglian Valley, he carefully observed the contents on the map. On the red stone cave, a golden lotus is drawn. On the map. Of course I want it. He discovered that the core area of Qinglian Valley was the land of Dragon Leap. But at first he thought it was just a decoration, or the name of this place or something. Lava cave? If it hadn't been for this flame lotus that injured the blood dragon ancestral ape in advance. Okay, I understand. Where is this thing now? The meaning of the system is obvious, that is, let him fight with the 5th grade monster blood dragon ancestral ape, and even kill him. Even if you obtain the flame lotus, you can only use it once, and you cannot use it indefinitely, unless, you can advance the divine dragon skill again. Host, don't you want the flame lotus? Although there is only a trace of the way of fire in it, it can greatly improve the host's strength, the system reminded. These trump cards add up. This way you can get the heavenly dragon bone, broken bones. However, although the flame lotus is fierce, the host's current strength is also a bit weak. That being the case, now it seems that the meaning of this label should be that the flame lotus is hidden here. Xiao Xian's heart moved. Even if he and Wu Sheng and others join forces, they may not be able to defeat the blood dragon ancestral ape. Doesn't it mean that he is now strong enough to go head to head with the blood dragon ancestral ape? He knew very well that in defeating the blood dragon ancestral ape before, he only took advantage of the flame lotus. You mean that I can defeat the blood dragon ancestral ape head on? Is it true? After arriving at Qinglian Valley. Flame lotus, this is an existence that can injure even the 5th grade demon beast blood dragon ancestral ape. If he is not tempted, it is a lie. I'm really impressed by the name Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian indeed received many benefits. But now, listening to the system's wishes, the arrangement for him to fight the blood dragon ancestral ape turned out to be only after the system conducted a strength assessment. Thank you, brother system. In that case, I will look for the flame lotus first. With this thing, I will challenge the blood dragon ancestral ape. Brother system. From the previous blood dragon ancestral ape demon pill, as well as the Xianming Qi, the most important thing is that wonderful Taoist rhyme method. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 756. Xiao Xian followed the pictures all the way. Guided by the map, he quickly found the location of the lava cave. Walking out of the jungle, he came to a barren stone desert. What he saw was a land that looked like it had been burned by flames. A series of gray-black stones crisscrossed the area. The entire place was shrouded in gray and black, and the temperature was far higher than in the dense forest before. Xiao Xian felt that he could feel the fire in the air with every breath. Is this where the flame lotus is? After looking around, Xiao Xian also discovered that the black cave in the center had the highest temperature in this barren Gobi desert. It seems that the temperature of this area is radiated from the middle. So, the flame lotus is in the cave. Xiao Xian used his Tao power to protect his heart and slowly walked towards the entrance of the cave. 2 or 3 minutes later, he arrived at the entrance of the cave. Look up. 3 large characters are crookedly carved on the cave. Xianyang Cave. This name is quite interesting. Xian means mysterious and Yang means masculine. Could it be that there is some mysterious masculine power in the cave? Xiao Xian was a little curious. The temperature felt acceptable. He did not hesitate and stepped directly into the cave. Then, a land of red and black flames appeared in front of him. The scorching heat hit my face. It's like there are magma flames all around. Xiao Xian carefully checked in the cave and found that even the stones in the cave had cracked under the scorching temperature. What caused all this was a red-black flame in the center of the cave. This wisp of flame was only as thick as a baby's arm, and when it swayed slightly, it made the surrounding air tremble. Is this the flame lotus? It doesn't look like a lotus flower, does it? Xiao Xian couldn't help but mutter to himself, besides, isn't this temperature a bit too high? It seems a little difficult to get these things. System hint. The flame lotus is showing signs of erupting, please host to recover it quickly. What the hell? Xiao Xian exploded immediately. He originally thought about how he could use some method to save the country by taking back the flame lotus. Who knew things were so urgent? Before anything happened, the system actually asked him to recover the flame lotus. Doesn't this damn thing cost his life? Just now, he could clearly see that this black and hot cave was caused by this small flame lotus. How could he be able to recover such a powerful flame lotus now? I'm sorry, brother system, can you give me some benefits? I have the impression that you won't let me die directly, Xiao Xian said with a bitter face. You are so weak. The system lamented, but it made Xiao Xian blush. How can I say that now I am also the number one among the younger generation in Mingzhou territory? Xiao Xian was a little aggrieved. He has not been on the Dao continent for a long time, and most of the troubles in cultivation must be solved by himself. Although the system also has some help. But in the final analysis, he suffered a lot, but looking at the system now, it seems that he is still dissatisfied with his strength. Fire Lotus. This is a true earth-level Taoist technique. What? Xiao Xian originally wanted to complain more, but when he heard the system's next words, he almost jumped up with excitement. Earth-level Taoism. This is the highest level Taoism he has encountered when he came to Dao continent. If he could learn it, it would naturally greatly improve his strength. At the same time, he also instantly understood why the blood dragon ancestral ape, a majestic 5th grade monster, was injured by the flame lotus. It turned out that this was the problem. I see. Brother system, why didn't you tell me earlier? If you had told me earlier, wouldn't I be so anxious? He. Xiao Xian quickly put on a smiling face. I know that you, the old man, are highly respected and powerful. You must have a way for me to conquer this flame lotus, right? While talking, he also felt a little embarrassed. Now in front of Ziyu, the bright earth-level Taoism is right in front of him, but he doesn't have the strength to conquer it. Isn't this a mistake? According to the inference of this system, the host's power is currently relatively weak. If he can raise his strength to the peak of the spiritual god realm, he will conquer the flame lotus immediately. Obviously, these demon pills have been here for a long time. Xiao Xian couldn't help but his heart beat faster. What the system says is not nonsense. At this moment, if anyone sees this scene, 5th grade demon pill, come out quickly. Judging from the dust on the demon pill, put it in the exchange outside, it's a treasure level thing. Over the years, many blood dragon ancestral apes with ancient bloodlines have been killed. If you search in this cave, you may be able to find some 5th grade demon pills. The pure Tao power in it would be coveted by even Kangshen realm practitioners. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian's feelings for the system became even more enthusiastic. Where nearly half of the time had been wasted on the periphery, conquering the flame lotus and searching for the broken bones of the heavenly dragon. These things would take 5 or 6 days in total. Xiao Xian was like picking up stones on the ground, picking up 5th grade demon pills one by one. He found that there were not only demon pills from the blood dragon ancestral ape, but also demon pills from other monsters. These demon pills are extremely precious treasures outside. Who knew that they would be so worthless here with Xiao Xian? By the time 3, 4, 5, 17, 18. What kind of 5th grade monster, the blood dragon ancestral ape, is he afraid of? This flame lotus is very domineering. 5th grade. Soon, Xiao Xian found the 5th grade demon pills scattered on the ground in some corners of Xianyang stone cave. I'm just afraid that I'll vomit blood in anger. But now, putting it here has become a random thing. Moreover, this thing still has ancient blood. The trial in Qinglian Valley lasted only 10 days. He really doesn't have time to practice Tao power. It seems a bit difficult to push up the realm of power in a short time, right? Inside the Xianyang stone cave, Xiao Xian scratched the back of his head. If it were strengthened by Xiao Green again. But because there are too many. This level of demon elixir. He would basically only pick up the demon elixirs of the 5th grade and above, and only pick some of the 4th grade ones. As for the ones below the 4th grade, he wouldn't even look at them. I am afraid that even the leader of the blood dragon ancestral ape will kneel on the ground and kowtow when he sees him. Some 5th grade demon pills. Xiao Xian quickly searched in the Xianyang stone cave. As long as he had enough 5th grade demon pills, he would have the confidence to raise his strength to the peak of the spiritual god realm, or even the great perfection of the spiritual god realm in a short time. Unless, the system has a faster way to increase the power. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 757. Inside the Xianyang stone cave. After picking up 30 or 40 5th grade demon pills, Xiao Xian also estimated that it was almost done, so he directly awakened Xiao Lu in the space magic weapon and let it work as a laborer to help purify the impurities in the demon pill. Since the last time Xiao Lu swallowed the ancient stone tablet, it has been sleeping in Xiao Xian's magic weapon. Although there is no movement, Xiao Xian can feel that Xiao Lu's power is gradually recovering. Sometimes it can even feel a trace of the pressure of the ancient bloodline. According to Xiao Xian's inference, Xiao Lu's current strength is at least above the 5th grade monster. If he can still awaken the ancient bloodline, his strength may be as strong as that of the 6th grade monster. This has surpassed the Kang Shen realm. It's almost to the Golden God realm. Therefore, Xiao Xian still did not dare to neglect this little ancestor of the monster beast. After all, the way this guy gnawed on the stone tablet last time was still remembered in his heart. Gigi, Xiaolu shook his wings, seeming a little dissatisfied with being woken up. Hey, little green. You are young and cannot be a homebody. How can you sleep all day? Look, I have prepared some demon pills for you. Are you interested? Xiao Xian took out the demon pill with a smile. Regarding Xiao Xian's obvious flattery routine, Xiao Lu seemed to have expected it, but after looking at Xiao Xian with her small eyes, she understood what he meant. A colorful ray of light appeared. The demon pills with impurities in front of them were purified one after another. The originally colorful demon pills became crystal clear in an instant after being purified by this colorful breath. Under the condensation of pure and strong Tao power, Xiao Xian was salivating when he saw it. Shishi, shishi, just when Xiao Xian was about to swallow these demon pills, Xiao Lu suddenly ran in front of the demon pills, his little eyes blinked, and he seemed to be a little curious. How? You said there is ancient blood in this. Indeed, your nose is quite clever. There are some blood dragon ancestral apes here. It is said that these monster beasts have a trace of ancient blood. Is it of any use to you? Xiao Xian asked casually. However, this time, Xiaolu showed a disgusted expression, waved his colorful wings, and planned to go to sleep again. 2. The ancient blood of these blood dragon ancestral apes has probably been diluted many times. Even if it is not diluted, it may not be as good as Xiaolu. Xiao Xian nodded secretly. But the next second, Xiao Lu's actions shocked him. I saw the little guy stood up, vibrated his wings, and flew directly towards the flame lotus not far away. This time it almost made Xiao Xian pee in fear. He knew the power of the flame lotus. Xiao Lu's current action is not like a moth, no, a bird flying into the fire. Little green. It's dangerous, don't go there. Xiao Xian quickly wanted to stop him, but failed. In the center of the cave, little green fluttered into the red-black flames, her little wings trembled, and she tilted her head to stare at the lotus. It was like having second thoughts about swallowing it all in one gulp. Regarding this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel a little worried. With his current strength, he couldn't deal with Xiaolu or Flame Lotus. Fortunately, Xiaolu just tilted her head and looked at it. Then he flew back. It seemed that he didn't care about the flame at all. Are you familiar with this thing? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. Jiji Xiaolu blinked. What? You said this thing has an ancient aura on it. Xiao Xian swallowed, his eyes filled with desire for a moment. He really didn't expect that this thing had an ancient aura. Now he finally understands. In this world, as long as the word ancient is involved in anything, its strength will be at least several times greater. Under such circumstances, if this flame lotus really has an ancient aura, it will definitely be of great help to him. Thank you very much. Then, Xiaolu, when the time comes, I may need you to help me. Xiao Xian said, his eyes rolling, I want to conquer this thing, how about you stay by and hold it in check for me? As expected, Xiao Xian received another powerful eye roll. A huge energy beam appeared above his head. Compared to other high-level cultivators in the spiritual realm, hey. The energy in this is also slowly instilled into Xiao Xian's sea of consciousness along the meridians, slowly strengthening his sea of consciousness. See this? But with his thick skin. If anything happens in the future, just tell me and I will take care of it. Whether you can help is one thing, and whether you are willing to help is another. Xiao Xian touched another demon pill from his side and absorbed it directly. However, even he himself understands that now he is probably not as strong as Xiao Lu, and if he encounters any trouble, he may not be able to solve it. Then, the peak of the spiritual god realm, here I come. In the cave, his fighting strength and recovery power were greatly enhanced. Under these breaths, could it be that, this thing is still good for the consciousness sea? In addition, Xiao Xian is the only one absorbing it at the moment. He couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. But it is very clear. Picked up a 5th grade demon pill and started absorbing it. As Xiao Xian absorbed energy, energy beams fell from the sky, and with a roar, countless energy entered his body like a river flowing downstream. Throw away the remains of the demon elixir in your hand. After Xiao Lu strengthened the demon pill, the Tao power energy in this demon pill has been greatly improved. Xiao Xian sat cross-legged in the cave. Xiao Xian patted his chest and promised, as if he could really help Xiao Lu. The demon pills around Xiao Xian were also crushed one by one. It was not until the last demon pill was crushed that the energy in his sea of consciousness was filled. This time, even more powerful energy from the demon pill was crazily injected into his body. Now, I didn't expect this thing to actually affect his sea of consciousness. He couldn't help but look at Xiao Lu beside him. He remembered that when Xiao Lu devoured the ancient ruins, he gave him a colorful aura. Time passes hour by hour. Xiao Xian's sea of consciousness is much larger. However, Xiao Lu still landed lightly on his shoulder despite receiving a blank look, obviously not rejecting him. Naturally, there is more Tao power contained in it. The energy in a 5th grade demon elixir can be contained without any leakage. Open your eyes again. Thanks. Xiao Xian felt that the sea of qi in his body had expanded again, and there were even some mottled lines on the sea of qi. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 758. He carefully observed the mottled traces in the sea of consciousness. Xiao Xian discovered that these colorful mottled marks were not just good-looking, but had a better purpose behind them. As long as he activates the Tao power in the sea of consciousness, the 7-color aura will help immediately, which will not only greatly strengthen the power of the avenue in his sea of consciousness, but also attach a layer of restorative power to it. He tried making a cut on his arm. In an instant, a colorful breath enveloped the wound, and then the wound slowly healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, not even a scar was left. Even Xiao Xian couldn't help but be shocked by such a speed of recovery. Previously, when Xiao Lu gave him the colorful breath for the first time, he did feel the domineering nature of the colorful breath. Unexpectedly, until he reached the peak of the spiritual god realm, the power of this colorful aura is fully revealed. Thank you, Xiaolu. After Xiao Xian thanked Xiao Lu, he stood up again. At this moment, although he was still standing in the scorching stone cave, his strength at the peak of the spiritual god realm meant that he no longer needed to use his Tao power to resist the erosion of external heat. Even, facing the flaming lotus flower like the sun, he no longer had the fear he had before. Then, let me devour you. Xiao Xian stepped forward, condensing all his Dao power, and the Dao power at the peak of the spiritual god realm condensed into a white shield on his body, resisting the high temperature of the flame lotus. Reach out. Touch lightly on the flame lotus. For a moment, the flame lotus seemed to feel the external power. The entire lotus swayed, and a high temperature that was several times more intense than before was instantly released, submerging the cave in a sea of fire. The scorching heat caused the stones in the cave to burst. The cave seemed to have turned into a volcanic hell. As expected of Earth-level Taoism. This temperature is something even a strong person from the Blue God realm would not dare to underestimate. Xiao Xian did not dare to neglect, and quickly condensed the power of the Great Road in his body. The white shield tightly protected his heart, and he could barely resist the erosion of the high temperature. But he didn't wait until he could take a breath. A tiny red-black flame suddenly appeared, ignoring his Dao power shield and heading straight for his divine palace. Seeing this, Xiao Xian also broke into a cold sweat. The strong violent emotion surged into his heart like a tide. If the power of his soul hadn't reached the real state, this move just now would have been enough to make him go crazy. Lie down. So this is the power of the flame lotus. Xiao Xian quickly concentrated and held his breath, and the majestic power of the divine soul was released, covering the entire cave, and slowly began to clear away the red-black flames that invaded his divine palace. At the same time, Xiao Lu beside him also chirped a few times. A heavy ancient coercion spread across the air. This made the soul attack of the red and black flames smaller. Even so, the scorching heat of the flame lotus was still eroding his body. His flesh, bones, and even veins were all damaged to varying degrees by the high temperature. That is to say, Xiao Xian has a bug-level recovery technique like the colorful breath. Whenever you are injured, these breaths quickly aid in recovery. However, although these breaths can restore the injury, they cannot cover up the pain caused by the injury. The flame lotus releases high temperature every time. Xiao Xian was burned once, his upper arm was burned to a pulp, his blood was almost boiled, and the erosion of his soul made him almost crazy. But in the divine palace, there is always a red gold soul power that keeps it clear. No matter how much pain there is in the outside world, the power of this divine soul always remains peaceful, and at the same time slowly begins to suppress the violent factor in the flame lotus. This son has a promising future. In a place where Xiao Xian cannot see. The system actually transformed into a white-haired old man, standing outside the cave and smiling at Xiao Xian. So what? Is it possible that the fate of your Akano dynasty will fall on a cultivator of the spiritual god realm? Ha ha ha. Old man Feng Yuan, have you lost yourself in millions of years? How funny. At the same time, several discordant sounds appeared on the white-haired old man. Old man Feng Yuan waved his hand, and a white divine soul power appeared in his body, and several screams and curses rang out one after another. There was also a look of pain on his face. In the cave. 3 or 4 hours later. Xiao Xian's broken body had been patched up countless times by the colorful breath, and the pain was almost numb. Even Xiao Lu next to him couldn't help but yawn. But he still managed to keep his soul clear. The already weak power of the soul tirelessly launched attacks against the red and black flames again and again. Finally, the red and black flames finally became weak. Directly refined by Xiao Xian. Seeing this red-black flame entering the sea of consciousness, a tired smile appeared on Xiao Xian's scarred face. Finally, the refining was successful. Chiji. The flame lotus entered Xiao Xian's body. The temperature in the cave dropped instantly. Xiao Lu jumped to Xiao Xian's side and spit out a breath of pure colorful breath to help moisturize and treat his injuries. A cool breath washed over me. Xiao Xian felt a burst of relaxation in his body from the inside out, and the original injuries on his body were wiped away. Thank you very much. The ancient mythical beast is indeed extraordinary. With you by my side, I have an extra life. Xiao Xian was very grateful. This was not the first time that Xiao Lu helped him treat him. Speaking of which, Xiao Lu also helped when he swallowed the flame lotus. If it weren't for Little Green, his devouring and refining the flame lotus will definitely not go so smoothly. Chiji. Xiao Lu seemed to be questioning. You ask about the power of this flame lotus. Xiao Xian was actually curious. After the flame lotus entered his body, he felt that there was also a red-black lotus in his originally wide sea of consciousness. Then try it. Xiao Xian stood up, standing in front of a round boulder. The top of this boulder is dark and smooth. It has been burned by flames in the cave for many years and has become extremely hard. Even ordinary Xian-level weapons may not be stronger than it. Xiao Xian concentrated slightly, and the flame lotus in the sea of consciousness trembled slightly. Under the guidance of his Tao power, it directly bombarded the boulder. Boom! There was a loud bang. Smoke and dust filled the air, and as the smoke and dust dispersed, under Xiao Xian's huge power, the boulder was directly smashed into pieces. Only the remains of stone fragments were left on the ground. Moreover, these broken stone fragments are all red and black, and they have obviously been burned by the flame lotus. Bull! This power! Xiao Xian couldn't help but sigh. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 759. Is this what you call power? Earth-level Taoism is indeed worthy of its reputation. Xiao Xian couldn't help but nod in admiration. When he entered the cave, he had already felt the powerful power of the flame lotus, which was why this place was so deserted. There was no vegetation except bare rocks. Even so, these stones are several times harder than those in the outside world, without the blessing of the flame lotus. Not to mention shattering boulders. One punch might not even leave a trace. With such power, coupled with the way Dayun exerts force on the mysterious ancient tree, if he encounters the blood dragon ancestral ape again, even at his full strength, he is still capable of fighting. It's interesting. That's it, you can go find the Tianlong bone broken bones now. Xiao Xian stood up and stretched his hands and feet, and all the joints in his body made explosive sounds. It's like setting off firecrackers. At the same time, the body and limbs are also full of strength, as if a punch or a kick has the power to break stone and break gold. He noticed that since he swallowed the flame lotus, the temperature of Xianyang Stone Cave in this area also dropped, and the originally burnt black and hot boulders soon became cold. Get out of the cave. He took a long breath of relief. Xiao Xian took out the map of Qinglian Valley, searched according to the map, moved his fingers lightly, and finally found the place where the broken bones of Tianlong were located. Follow the markings on the map. The dragon head-shaped bone marked on this place should obviously be the burial place of Tianlong's broken bones. Brother system. You said before that the heavenly dragon broken bones are only guarded by the blood dragon ancestral ape. Is what you said true? Xiao Xian asked. If this is true, it seems that I can get it easily. What this system says is naturally true. But, host, don't forget, when you first came to Qinglian Valley, the blood dragon ancestral ape was quite a challenge to you. Yeah. Hear what the system says. Xiao Xian was also a little embarrassed. You know, when he first came to Qinglian Valley, Wu Shen even had to unite a group of talented disciples from the right path before he dared to challenge a blood dragon ancestral ape. But now he can fight alone. At the high level of the spiritual god realm, being able to challenge a 5th level monster in a single fight is already a very powerful increase in strength. But I don't know why. Looking at the markings on the map, Xiao Xian always felt uneasy in his heart. The Tianlong broken bone is the most important treasure in the Qinglian Valley. Logically speaking, it should be the most difficult to obtain. You can't just let him get it casually. More importantly, he saw many demonic elixirs of the blood dragon ancestral ape in the Xianyang stone cave. Obviously, there is more than one blood dragon ancestral ape in the Green Lotus Valley and even in the land of Dragon Leap. Then guard the end of the broken bones of Tianlong. It shouldn't be an ordinary 5th grade monster, right? With doubts, Xiao Xian slowly walked towards the place marked on the map. Soon, after passing through a dense forest and lake, he stood in front of a black mountain. Monster Mountain. In the legendary place where the heavenly dragon fell, most of the heavenly dragon's bones condensed into the spirit of the mountain, but there are also some broken bones that remain. It depends on whether the host can find them. In this monster mountain, the most powerful monster is the blood dragon ancestral ape king. The system prompted. Hearing this, Xiao Xian suddenly had a black line. Although I had known for a long time that the monster guarding the broken bones of the heavenly dragon must be quite strong, I heard that it was a blood dragon ancestral ape queen. He still couldn't help but feel a little worried. Before, he thought that there should be only one blood dragon ancestral ape in Longjao land, but now it seems that there is actually a group of blood dragon ancestral apes here. There's even a leader. He had to take things like this seriously. Ordinary blood dragon ancestral apes have already reached the 5th level, so wouldn't the leader of the blood dragon ancestral apes be even more powerful? If the strength reaches the 6th level. On the contrary, if the leader of this blood dragon ancestral ape is only at the peak of the 5th level, then he still has some means of resistance with the help of the Daiyun of the Big Tree and the Flame Lotus. Is this blood dragon ancestral ape so low-key? Xiao Xian was a little confused. After wandering around the monster mountain range for a while, Xiao Xian discovered something that made him laugh or cry. The Beast Mountain range was actually quieter than ordinary mountains. Human cultivators will also have a hunter alliance or a sect hunting team. Only when such a powerful team is formed can they dare to come here. Hear these words. If it doesn't work, just use the 36 strategies, and walking is the best strategy. It was as if he was the only one on the entire mountain. While thinking, soon, he discovered that this place seemed a little different. Coupled with the monster's unique thick defense and iron-blooded attack, ordinary Kangshen realm strongmen have to avoid its edge. Xiao Xian asked Xiao Lu on his shoulder, normally, a monster with a bit of ancient bloodline should be a bit arrogant, right? Why doesn't this guy even dare to show his face? He had always cooperated well with the system before, and there was no need for the system to lie to him. Why did he change his previous words now? Face these dangers. For him, his purpose was to find the Tianlong broken bones as soon as possible. As for the fierce and tough leader of the blood dragon ancestral ape, it would be best not to meet him. The biggest difficulty in finding the broken bones of the heavenly dragon is not to defeat the leader of the blood dragon ancestral ape, but to collect them. Xiao Xian felt helpless when he heard the voice transmission from Xiao Lu's spirit. It turns out that this is because of the pressure of the ancient bloodline in Xiao Lu. With an ancient demon god like Xiao Lu here, let alone the leader of the blood dragon ancestral ape, no matter how powerful the monster is, he must be honest. It's not true. So, if nothing else, Xiao Xian's first choice would definitely be to run away directly. Shouldn't it? The system explained, after Tianlong fell here, the remaining broken bones have been scattered. If you want to get these broken bones, you have to enter the inside of this monster mountain and collect the broken bones of Tianlong inside. Only in this way can it be possible to get the broken bones your Shenlong Kungfu has advanced. Jiji. This aroused Xiao Xian's curiosity. His current strength is definitely no match for him. Unless you have absolute confidence in your own strength. Brother system, if that's the case, can we just take away the broken bones of the Tianlong? Xiao Xian asked tentatively. Outside of the Green Lotus Valley, basically all monster mountain ranges will have obvious characteristics, such as endless roars of beasts, chaotic and cruel killings, and various fatal dangers. Generally, no one enters the monster mountains alone. Xiao Xian also gritted his teeth and walked directly towards the beast mountain. After all, the strength of 6th grade monsters is almost the same as that of humans at the intermediate or even peak levels of the Blue God realm. He was confident that with the help of the spiritual eyes, he could at least be somewhat prepared before encountering danger. All the way up the mountain. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 760. Didn't the system say this before? As long as we defeat the blood dragon ancestral ape leader, can we get the heavenly dragon bones? Why has it changed now? Are you still looking for the broken bones of Tianlong? Brother system, you. This is a bit strange. The Tianlong broken bones are such a treasure, but the blood dragon ancestral ape didn't take it for himself. Instead, he divided it into 3 parts and hid it. There was a hint of confusion in the system's voice. This surprised Xiao Xian. For such a long time, the cooperation between him and the system has been perfect. The system provides tasks or messages, and he completes the tasks and obtains treasures. But this time the system made a misjudgment. He couldn't believe it. After all, nothing like this has ever happened before. Wrong. This is a bit strange. Perhaps there are some unknown things in this beast mountain that are very dangerous to you. There was a hint of fear in the system's voice. What a great danger. Xiao Xian was a little interested, but he didn't take it to heart. Previously, it had been detected by powerful powers such as Kanglong and Old Manchilong that only cultivators below the Kangshen realm could enter the Qinglian Valley. And now his strength has reached the peak of the spiritual god realm. As long as he doesn't meet a real Kangshen realm expert, he at least still has the power to protect himself, so he doesn't have to worry too much. Here, there seems to be a powerful monster spirit that suppresses the entire monster mountain. Even the blood dragon ancestral ape does not dare to provoke it, the system said. Monster spirit. What the hell is this? Xiao Xian was stunned. He was not surprised by the demonic beast's soul. To the demonic beast, this thing was equivalent to the human soul. But didn't this thing usually dissipate after the demonic beast died? Is it possible that it can still exist independently? If my guess is correct, this should be the essence left by an 8th grade or even higher grade monster. The system looked solemn. This monster also seems to attach great importance to the Tianlong bone broken bone. Real or fake? Isn't this a bit inappropriate? Doesn't it mean that within the Qinglian Valley, there can only be cultivators below the Blue God realm? Xiao Xian was helpless for a while. Originally, he thought that after swallowing the flame lotus, he would have real earth-level Taoism in his hands. At least within the Green Lotus Valley, he would have no opponents. Who knew that an 8th grade or above monster spirit would appear inexplicably now? Isn't this embarrassing for him? He just wants to get the Tianlong bone safely. Why is it so difficult? Well, even so, I can't give up on this heavenly dragon broken bone, so let's take it one step at a time. Xiao Xian gritted his teeth slightly and said, now that we have arrived at Qinglian Valley, I will never give up on this kind of thing easily. This is within the expectations of the system. However, if the host is willing, he can try to subdue this 8th grade monster spirit. If he can obtain this monster spirit, he can advance the Sirius sword again. The system reminded. Hear this. Xiao Xian was a little moved. The Sirius sword is a heaven-level spiritual weapon. If he can awaken it as soon as possible, even just a little bit, it will greatly improve his strength. But the problem is, 8th level monsters are already equivalent to the golden god realm of human cultivation. Monsters at this level already have intelligence and can speak, condense souls, create sex, and even be reborn with blood. Come to think of it, this monster spirit can hide from the sky and hide in the Qinglian Valley for such a long time. There must be something special about it. And if he wants to get something, he seems to have to think carefully about how to subdue this monster spirit. I said. Brother system, isn't the task you assigned me a bit too difficult? That's an 8th grade monster? How can I fight against a monster of this level? Aren't you asking me to die? Xiao Xian adheres to the principle of looking for the system when encountering problems. Anyway, I have the help of a big guy like the system. No use, no use. System reminder, this system is not omnipotent. What the hell? Brother system, you can't do this? If I remember correctly, you provided me with wrong information before. Aren't you going to give me an explanation? This system. What's wrong? You can't speak now? I just want to ask, isn't it inappropriate for you to look like this? For the system. Xiao Xian still has some understanding. Although this guy usually looks aloof, from a certain perspective, he is still very face-saving. The system had previously provided him with wrong information. This matter can be used to blackmail the system, which is also one of his trump cards. For this, Xiao Xian was a little curious instead. He could roughly feel that the system still had some cards, and maybe the system could still give him some help this time. This is also a good opportunity for him. Have you thought about it? Brother system. I believe you still have a trump card, right? Xiao Xian was persuasive and said, logically speaking, I should do this kind of thing myself. After all, you gave me the map of Qinglian Valley, didn't you? But, there are some things that you should do as well. You know, this 8th level monster is not something I can deal with now. I guess you still have some self-awareness. However, although this system can help you, the final decision depends on you. The system said. These words made Xiao Xian a little confused. The final decision? Isn't it just about subduing the spirit of this 8th grade monster? Being able to raise the level of the Sirius sword and enhance his strength is what he dreams of. What else needs to be decided? For so long. He went through so many dangers in the Qinglian Valley, wasn't his purpose just to get some resources and strength? Is it possible that he can refuse the improvement in strength in the end? Isn't this reasonable? In my impression, do you want to gain some power, or do you have to give up something? Could it be that, the system wants me to give up something? Xiao Xian was thoughtful. As for his understanding of the system, he is not bad. As for his understanding of strength improvement, he is not bad at all. After all, his training experience on 2 continents is sometimes very useful. So, what exactly does he need to give up? For a moment, Xiao Xian felt empty in his heart, as if he had lost something.